Question 1. What significant legal reform concerning the judiciary was implemented under the Judicature Acts in the 1870s in the UK? A. Introduction of jury trials. B. Consolidation of the separate courts into a single system. C. Establishment of the Supreme Court. D. Creation of the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council. Answer B. Consolidation of the separate courts into a single system. The Judicature Acts reformed the English court system by consolidating the separate courts of law and equity into one unified court system. Question 2. Who was the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom when the country decided to decimalize its currency system in 1971? A. Harold Wilson. B. Edward Heath. C. James Callaghan. D. Margaret Thatcher. Answer A. Harold Wilson. The decision to decimalize the British currency system was made during Harold Wilson's second term as Prime Minister. Question 3. What significant political role does Rishi Sunak hold as of 2022? A. Chancellor of the Exchequer. B. Prime Minister. C. Leader of the Opposition. D. Home Secretary. Answer B. Prime Minister. Rishi Sunak serves as the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom starting from 2022. Question 4. What is the primary responsibility of the Prime Minister in the UK? A. Leading the judicial system. B. Leading the national government. C. Presiding over the House of Lords. D. Commanding the British Armed Forces. Answer B. Leading the national government. The primary responsibility of the Prime Minister is to lead the national government and oversee the executive branch. Question 5. In what year did the Battle of Hastings take place? A. 1066. B. 1077. C. 1055. D. 1088. Answer A. 1066. The Battle of Hastings occurred in the year 1066, marking a decisive point in English history. Question 6. What major act in 1829 significantly changed policing in London? A. The Metropolitan Police Act. B. The London Police Reform Act. C. The Public Order Act. D. The National Security Act. Answer A. The Metropolitan Police Act. This act established the Metropolitan Police Service, significantly changing the policing structure in London. Question 7. Who was the British Prime Minister during the majority of World War II? A. Neville Chamberlain. B. Winston Churchill. C. Clement Attlee. D. Anthony Eden. Answer B. Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill was the Prime Minister during most of World War II, leading Britain through the conflict. Question 8. What is the Magna Carta and why is it significant in British history? A. A medieval tax document. B. The charter that limited the powers of the king and established legal rights. C. A treaty between England and France. D. The founding document of the British Empire. Answer B. The charter that limited the powers of the king and established legal rights. The Magna Carta is significant for establishing the principle that everyone, including the king, is subject to the law. Question 9. Describe the main objective of the suffragette movement in the early 20th century. A. To gain equal employment rights for women. B. To improve education for women. C. To secure voting rights for women. D. To abolish the monarchy. Answer C. To secure voting rights for women. The suffragette movement primarily aimed to secure the right to vote for women. Question 10. Which landmark event in 1707 influenced the political landscape of Britain and Scotland? A. The Glorious Revolution. B. The signing of the Magna Carta. C. The Acts of Union. D. The English Civil War. Answer C. The Acts of Union. This event united the kingdoms of England and Scotland under the name of Great Britain. Question 11. What are the main chambers of the Parliament of the United Kingdom? A. The Senate and the House of Commons. B. The House of Commons and the House of Lords. C. The House of Representatives and the Senate. D. The Council of State and the National Assembly. Answer B. The House of Commons and the House of Lords. These are the two main chambers of the UK Parliament. Question 12. Name the architect who designed St. Paul's Cathedral rebuilt after the Great Fire of London. A. Christopher Wren. B. John Nash. C. Nicholas Hawksmoor. D. Inigo Jones. Answer A. Christopher Wren. Sir Christopher Wren was the architect responsible for the design of the rebuilt St. Paul's Cathedral after the Great Fire of 1666. Question 13. In which year did the United Kingdom join the European Economic Community, which later became known as the European Union? A. 1973. B. 1963. C. 1985. D. 1957. Answer A. 1973. The UK joined the European Economic Community in 1973. Question 14. What was the purpose of the Emancipation Act of 1833 in the United Kingdom? A. To grant independence to American colonies. B. To establish free trade. C. To abolish slavery throughout the British Empire. D. To grant voting rights to all men. Answer C. To abolish slavery throughout the British Empire. The Emancipation Act of 1833 was aimed at ending slavery across the empire. Question 15. Who was the first female Prime Minister of the United Kingdom? A. Elizabeth II. B. Margaret Thatcher. C. Theresa May. D. Mary Robinson. Answer B. Margaret Thatcher. Margaret Thatcher was the first female Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, serving from 1979 to 1990. Question 16. Which British scientist is credited with formulating the laws of motion and gravity in the 17th century? A. Charles Darwin. B. Isaac Newton. C. Michael Faraday. D. Stephen Hawking. Answer B. Isaac Newton. Sir Isaac Newton formulated the laws of motion and gravity in the 17th century. Question 17. In what year did the Great Fire of London occur, and what was one of its long-term effects on the city's architecture? A. 1666. Introduction of the Georgian style. B. 1644. Increased use of brick and stone. C. 1666. Increased use of brick and stone. D. 1644. Introduction of the Tudor style. Answer C. 1666. Increased use of brick and stone. The Great Fire of London in 1666 led to a shift towards the use of more fire-resistant materials like brick and stone in building. Question 18. Which historical figure led the English defence against the Viking invasion in the 9th century? A. King Alfred the Great. B. King Edward the Confessor. C. King Harold II. D. King Richard I. Answer A. King Alfred the Great. He was notable for his defense against the Viking invasion during the late 9th century. Question 19. What pivotal battle in 1314 was a significant victory for Scotland during the First War of Scottish Independence? A. The Battle of Stirling Bridge. B. The Battle of Hessitings. C. The Battle of Bannockburn. D. The Battle of Agincourt. Answer C. The Battle of Bannockburn. This battle was a significant Scottish victory in the First War of Scottish Independence. Question 20. Name the 19th century British monarch whose reign is known as the Victorian era. A. Queen Victoria. B. Queen Elizabeth I. C. King George III. D. King Edward VII. Answer A. Queen Victoria. Her reign, known as the Victorian era, was marked by industrial, cultural, political, scientific, and military change within the United Kingdom. Question 21. What principle did the Bill of Rights in 1689 establish regarding the monarchy and Parliament? A. The monarchy cannot govern without Parliament's consent. B. Parliament must have a royal charter to legislate. C. The monarchy has absolute power. D. Parliament is subordinate to the monarchy. Answer A. The monarchy cannot govern without Parliament's consent. The Bill of Rights established the principle that the monarchy cannot rule without the consent of Parliament, marking a significant step in the development of the constitutional monarchy. Question 22. During which conflict was the charge of the Light Brigade, and what was its significance? A. The Napoleonic Wars demonstrated tactical military innovation. B. The Crimean War highlighted the mismanagement and bravery of British troops. C. World War I marked the use of cavalry in modern warfare. D. The Boer War exemplified guerrilla warfare tactics. Answer B. The Crimean War highlighted the mismanagement and bravery of British troops. The charge of the Light Brigade occurred during the Crimean War and is famous for the extreme bravery and tragic mismanagement in the face of impossible odds. Question 23. What role does the Prime Minister play in the appointment of cabinet members? A. The Prime Minister has no role in appointments. They are made by the monarch. B. The Prime Minister recommends appointments, which are then confirmed by the House of Commons. C. The Prime Minister selects and appoints cabinet members, subject to the monarch's formal approval. D. Cabinet members are elected by public vote, and the Prime Minister confirms them. Answer C. The Prime Minister selects and appoints cabinet members, subject to the monarch's formal approval. The PM plays a crucial role in forming the cabinet by selecting members, generally from among the MPs and lords of their political party. Question 24. Explain the significance of the Battle of Britain in 1940. A. It marked the first major military campaign fought entirely by air forces. B. It was the final battle that ended World War II. C. It demonstrated the effectiveness of naval blockades. D. It led to the invention of radar. Answer A. It marked the first major military campaign fought entirely by air forces. The Battle of Britain in 1940 was significant as the first major campaign to be fought entirely by air forces and was crucial in preventing a Nazi invasion of Britain. Question 25. What was the main outcome of the Reform Act of 1832 in the context of British electoral politics? A. It abolished the monarchy and established a republic. B. It significantly expanded the franchise, increasing the number of men who could vote. C. It granted voting rights to women. D. It merged the roles of the Prime Minister and the monarch. Answer B. It significantly expanded the franchise, increasing the number of men who could vote. The Reform Act of 1832 was a pivotal moment in British history, as it widened the right to vote beyond the very wealthy, though it still excluded women and working-class men. Question 26. Which treaty confirmed the independence of the Republic of Ireland from the United Kingdom? A. The Good Friday Agreement. B. The Anglo-Irish Treaty. C. The Treaty of Versailles. D. The Maastricht Treaty. Answer B. The Anglo-Irish Treaty. The Anglo-Irish Treaty of 1921 established Ireland as a free state, thus confirming its independence from the United Kingdom. Question 27. What is the significance of the Home Rule movement in Irish history? A. It sought to unite Ireland and Britain under a single parliament. B. It was a movement to abolish the monarchy in Ireland. C. It aimed to establish self-government for Ireland within the United Kingdom. D. It promoted the industrial development of Ireland. Answer C. It aimed to establish self-government for Ireland within the United Kingdom. The Home Rule movement was significant in Irish history as it sought self-government and legislative independence from British rule. Question 28. Name the operation carried out by British and Allied forces that marked the beginning of the end of World War II in Europe. A. Operation Desert Storm. B. Operation Overlord. C. Operation Sea Lion. D. Operation Barbarossa. Answer B. Operation Overlord. Known as the D-Day landings, Operation Overlord in 1944 marked the beginning of the end of World War II in Europe, establishing a vital second front against Nazi Germany. Question 29. What major social reform did the Beveridge Report of 1942 propose? A. The introduction of the euro. B. The creation of the welfare state. C. The privatization of health care. D. The abolition of public education. Answer B. The creation of the welfare state. The Beveridge Report proposed major social reforms that led to the establishment of the welfare state in Britain, including the creation of the National Health Service. Question 30. Who was responsible for establishing the Church of England in the 16th century? A. Queen Elizabeth I. B. King Henry VIII. C. King James I. D. Queen Victoria. Answer B. King Henry VIII. He was responsible for establishing the Church of England, separating from the Roman Catholic Church. Question 31. Name the disease that caused significant mortality in England during the reign of King Edward III. A. Smallpox. B. The Black Death. C. Cholera. D. The Spanish flu. Answer B. The Black Death. The Black Death or bubonic plague caused devastating mortality during the 14th century, including during the reign of King Edward III. Question 32. What was the primary purpose of the Human Rights Act 1998 in the UK? A. To separate powers between the branches of government. B. To codify the constitutional rights of citizens. C. To incorporate the European Convention on Human Rights into domestic law. D. To establish the Supreme Court of the United Kingdom. Answer C. To incorporate the European Convention on Human Rights into domestic law. The Human Rights Act 1998 was enacted to incorporate the rights contained in the European Convention on Human Rights into UK law, allowing citizens to take human rights cases to domestic courts. Question 33. Who was the author of the influential work, The Wealth of Nations? A. John Maynard Keynes. B. Adam Smith. C. Karl Marx. D. David Ricardo. Answer B. Adam Smith. He authored The Wealth of Nations, which is considered a fundamental work in classical economics. Question 34. What event is commemorated by Guy Fawkes Night in the UK? A. The end of the English Civil War. B. The signing of the Magna Carta. C. The Gunpowder Plot of 1605. D. The restoration of the monarchy. Answer C. The Gunpowder Plot of 1605. Guy Fawkes Night commemorates the foiling of the Gunpowder Plot, in which Guy Fawkes and others attempted to blow up the Houses of Parliament. Question 35. Who was the monarch during the establishment of the Commonwealth of Nations? A. King George VI. B. Queen Elizabeth II. C. King Edward VIII. D. Queen Victoria. Answer A. King George VI. He was the monarch during the transition from the British Empire to the Commonwealth of Nations, reflecting the decolonization of many British territories. Question 36. What legal principle was established by the Habeas Corpus Act 1679? A. The right to bear arms. B. The right to a trial by jury. C. The right to seek relief from unlawful detention. D. The right to freedom of speech. Answer C. The right to seek relief from unlawful detention. The Habeas Corpus Act 1679 is significant for establishing the legal right to challenge and seek relief from unlawful detention. Question 37. Describe the impact of the Industrial Revolution on British society. A. It decreased the urban population. B. It led to a decline in agricultural production. C. It transformed economic and social structures by industrializing production. D. It reduced the influence of the British Empire. Answer C. It transformed economic and social structures by industrializing production. The Industrial Revolution had a profound impact on British society, notably by shifting the economy from agrarian-based to industrial-based and dramatically altering the social landscape. Question 38. In which century did the Black Death occur in England, and what was its impact? A. 14th century. It led to significant population loss and social upheaval. B. 16th century. It initiated major religious reforms. C. 17th century. It contributed to the establishment of parliamentary democracy. D. 18th century. It spurred the development of the public health system. Answer A. 14th century. It led to significant population loss and social upheaval. The Black Death had a catastrophic impact on England, reducing the population significantly and leading to considerable social and economic changes. Question 39. What significant legal and governmental concept was introduced by the Glorious Revolution in 1688? A. The divine right of kings. B. The establishment of constitutional monarchy. C. The right to freedom of religion. D. The concept of total war. Answer B. The establishment of constitutional monarchy. The Glorious Revolution is significant for establishing the constitutional monarchy, which limited the powers of the monarchy under a constitutional framework. Question 40. Who was the British monarch during the American War of Independence? A. King George III. B. King George II. C. King Edward III. D. Queen Anne. Answer A. King George III. He was the monarch during the American War of Independence, a period marked by the struggle of the American colonies to gain independence from British rule. Question 41. What was the purpose of the Corn Laws in the 19th century, and what resulted from their repeal? A. To regulate grain prices and protect domestic producers. Their repeal led to lower food prices. B. To establish trade tariffs on all imported goods. Their repeal caused economic depression. C. To encourage industrial growth. Their repeal resulted in agricultural decline. D. To ban the export of grain. Their repeal increased international trade. Answer A. To regulate grain prices and protect domestic producers. Their repeal led to lower food prices. The Corn Laws were designed to protect British agriculture by imposing tariffs on imported grain, and their repeal in 1846 led to a drop in food prices and increased trade liberalization. Question 42. Name the famous ship that carried the Pilgrim Fathers to North America. A. The Mayflower. B. The Endeavour. C. The Victoria. D. The Beagle. Answer A. The Mayflower. The Mayflower is famous for transporting the Pilgrim Fathers to North America in 1620, an event significant in American history. Question 43. Who was the British leader during the Falklands War? A. Margaret Thatcher. B. Tony Blair. C. John Major. D. Winston Churchill. Answer A. Margaret Thatcher. Margaret Thatcher was the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom during the Falklands War in 1982. Question 44. What groundbreaking piece of legislation did the UK pass concerning environmental protection in 1956? A. The Clean Air Act. B. The Environmental Protection Act. C. The Kyoto Protocol Implementation Act. D. The Wildlife and Countryside Act. Answer A. The Clean Air Act. The Clean Air Act of 1956 was passed in response to the Great Smog of London and was a pioneering piece of environmental legislation aimed at reducing air pollution. Question 45. Which British physicist developed the theory of electromagnetism in the 19th century? A. Isaac Newton. B. Michael Faraday. C. James Clerk Maxwell. D. Stephen Hawking. Answer C. James Clerk Maxwell. James Clerk Maxwell developed the theory of electromagnetism, significantly influencing the field of physics with his equations describing electric and magnetic fields. Question 46. What is the significance of the Stone of Scone in the coronation of British monarchs? A. It is used to crown the monarchs directly. B. It represents the monarch's divine right to rule. C. It is the seat upon which monarchs are crowned at Westminster Abbey. D. It symbolizes the monarch's military power. Answer C. It is the seat upon which monarchs are crowned at Westminster Abbey. The Stone of Scone, also known as the Stone of Destiny, is historically used in the coronation of Scottish and later British monarchs. Question 47. Who were the main participants in the English Civil War? A. The Royalists and the Parliamentarians. B. The Cavaliers and the Roundheads. C. Both A and B. D. The Whigs and the Tories. Answer C. Both A and B. The main participants in the English Civil War were the Royalists, or Cavaliers, who supported King Charles I, and the Parliamentarians, or Roundheads, who supported the parliamentary cause. Question 48. What was the social and economic impact of the Enclosure Acts in Britain? A. They increased the rights of tenant farmers. B. They led to the commercialization of agriculture and displacement of peasant farmers. C. They decreased agricultural productivity. D. They improved living conditions in rural areas. Answer B. They led to the commercialization of agriculture and displacement of peasant farmers. The Enclosure Acts allowed for the privatization and consolidation of land, leading to increased agricultural efficiency, but also displacing many peasant farmers, which contributed to urban migration. Question 49. What landmark law, passed in 1967, began the process of decriminalising homosexuality in England and Wales? A. The Sexual Offences Act. B. The Civil Partnership Act. C. The Equality Act. D. The Human Rights Act. Answer A. The Sexual Offences Act. The Sexual Offences Act of 1967 was a landmark law that began the process of decriminalising homosexual acts in private between two men over the age of 21 in England and Wales. Question 50. Explain the significance of the Tolpuddle martyrs in the labour movement of the UK. A. They were key figures in the establishment of the National Health Service. B. They led the first successful strike in British history. C. They were early trade unionists who were arrested for forming a trade union, inspiring the growth of the trade union movement. D. They drafted the original Charter for Workers' Rights in the UK. Answer C. They were early trade unionists who were arrested for forming a trade union, inspiring the growth of the trade union movement. The Tolpuddle martyrs were significant for their role in the early labour movement, highlighting the struggles for workers' rights and leading to significant support for trade unionism in Britain.